What's going on, guys? Welcome back. In this video we will be creating our very first resource. Not creating it, but more so installing our very first resource in your very own FiveM server. If you do not have your own FiveM server and wish to have one, go ahead and watch my latest video or my earlier video on how to create a FiveM server. It is a very detailed walkthrough on how to do it, and the link will be in the description. So for this resource we will be installing vMenu. vMenu is a server-sided or client-sided menu that allows you to have all kinds of privileges in a game. You can spawn cars, have weather-related options, anything you can think of. It is very widely known, everybody uses it, and it's just a great thing to have. Keep in mind that it is no longer updated, which in my opinion it doesn't need it. It's perfect the way it is. But if you do run into issues, you will not receive help from the developers. You will only receive help through the community. So if you do run into issues, you can go ahead and search forums, or you can go ahead and comment in the comment section down below, and I will be glad to help you out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go down here where it says download. Oh yeah, go ahead and click that link. That link will bring you to the release page of the vMenu. Now I want you to scroll down till you see assets. Go ahead and click vmenu.zip. It'll automatically download. Let's drag that to our desktop and minimize the browser for now. Next thing I need you to do is go ahead and open up your folder where your server is saved. Mine is on my C drive in a folder named YouTube server. Now I need you to go into your server data folder where your resource folder is located and go ahead and open that up. Next thing we're going to do is open up our zip file. With our zip file open, we see all of these different files in here, all these files in a folder. We need to go ahead and drag them into our resource folder. But before we do that, we don't just want to have random files in here. We want that organized. So we're going to go ahead and open a new folder. We're going to name it vMenu. Make sure it's named just like that, V small and a big M menu. Because we need to be able to call this menu open. We can't just call all these individual files. It's easier to just type open vMenu and it reads everything inside it. So we're going to have to open up that folder, drag and drop everything inside the zip folder inside it. You can go ahead and close out your zip folder, and there you go. You now have vMenu installed on your server. There's a lot of things in here. When you go to your config file, you have add-ons, locations, permissions. That's all for a later video. I'm just going to cover the basics for permissions on how to get it set up properly to make sure you have admin privileges. So the first thing we need to do, let's go back to our server data folder where server.cfg is saved. I'm going to go ahead and open that up, and we're going to ensure or start our vMenu. So right here on the top where it says resources will be started by default. These are the resources and all these other ones. Make sure you type the same thing, ensure, and we're going to call that folder vMenu. Make sure you spell that just the same way that folder is named. Go ahead, let's close this back out. Now we start vMenu. vMenu is working, but we do not have privileges. So let me show you what that looks like. When you hit start.bat, we're looking for right here, vMenu started, but as you can see, it is not set up correctly with permissions, so it receives default permissions. This means vMenu is working, but nobody has admin rights. We did not declare anything. So let's close that out. The way we do that, we go back into our resource folder, vMenu, and config. The easiest way to do this is go ahead and take that permissions folder, copy it, go back to our server data folder where our server CFG is, go ahead and paste that in here, just like that. Now what we want to do is we got to call this in. vMenu does not automatically call in your permissions. You have to do that manually. The way you simply do that is open your server CFG back up, and on the very top, this is the very first thing we want to do on the server, is we want to execute that folder. So we just type execute space, and then we write down what the file is called, permissions.cfg. You want to make sure this is spelled exactly the same way this is named. If you so much as forget an S, it will not load correctly and it will not work. The easiest way to ensure it's spelled correctly, go ahead and rename it, copy the entire name, come back in here and paste to ensure that you have it spelled correctly. Now we can go ahead and save this. Now we're calling our permissions correctly into the server. So we can go ahead and if we start our server now, you can see vMenu starts, but we don't have them error messages anymore. It says started resource vMenu, and the permissions error went away. Now we know that we started permissions correctly. Now we have to give ourselves admin rights. To give ourselves admin rights, now go ahead and open up your permissions.cfg folder. There's a lot that goes in here. It's very overwhelming, but it's really not. In a later video, I will further discuss how everything works. So for now, there's only two things I will show you. One is very top right here, says vMenu toggle key. It's set to 244. By default, this is your M key. Pressing M on the keyboard will open up the menu. You can change this to whatever you want. I would just leave it if you're not worried about it. The next thing we're going to do is scroll down to where it says vMenu permissions. Here we're going to give ourselves permissions. As you can see right here, we have our admins, our moderators. We're making ourselves an admin. So we're going to go ahead and we will add a new line, and we're going to go ahead and copy this line right here, just like that. You can use a Steam ID, a license ID. I believe you can also use a Discord ID. We're going to go ahead and use a Steam ID. So all you're going to do is make a new line and type add principal identifier dot steam, because we're using our Steam ID. I'm going to use semicolon. We're going to make a space for now. And you're going to go ahead and type group dot admin. Now we need to find our Steam ID. Okay. To find our Steam ID, go ahead and open up your browser and go to steamidfinder.com. This link will be in the description, so go ahead and just go there and find it. In here, there's a lot of ads that pop up, so just give it a second to load. Now in here, you simply type in your Steam username and hit enter. The one we're looking for is, give it a minute to everything for loading. The one we're looking for is our Steam ID hex key. Go ahead and take that, copy that, go back to your server folder, your permissions.cfg, and paste that right in there, just like that. Now we can go ahead and save. We can go ahead and save this folder and close out of it. Now, because we are using a Steam identifier to load our server permissions, we have to add a Steam API key. So we go into our server.cfg folder, all the way to the bottom. You can see our Steam web API key. To create your Steam API key, go ahead and just go to this website right here. Once loaded there, log into your Steam, and you will come to a page where you simply generate a key. Mine will be blurred out, so you can't use it, but simply go ahead and then take that key, copy it. We can now finally close out of our browser for good and paste that key inside it. Again, mine will be all blurred out so you don't see it. Now we go ahead and click save. Now, if done correctly, once we join the game or start the server and join the game, I will show you all the proper permissions that you have. As you can see, server started correctly, permissions have been read and loaded, and there are no error messages. So we're going to go ahead and close everything out, but leave our server system cmd.exe open, our start.bat open. And I'm going to load up the game, and I will see you in just a second. Alright, so now that we loaded in the game, I can show you what vMenu is. And of course, we are just located in a very great area to use it. We're just going to roll down here for a minute and into an open area. Okay, so the way you open vMenu is go ahead and just hit M on your keyboard. Once you hit M, you can see vMenu opens up, and you get all kinds of cool options like online players, banned players, player out related options. And the only reason you see all of these is because you're an admin. If you are not an admin, you will not see banned players, you will not see world related options, you won't be able to click on the player and kick, kill, or ban them temporarily or permanently, and you will not have world related options and other things. We will later and furtherly set up permissions in a later video. For now, this is all you need to see. Like, we click time options and let's make it night. You can see it just instantly goes to night. You can make this a smooth transition later on in the permissions folder. I will show you how. And you can also go to vehicle related options. You go to vehicle spawner. You can just go ahead and spawn a vehicle and drive a vehicle. Like I said, vMenu is a very great resource to have. If you have any questions, something went wrong and you can't figure it out, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Add me on my Steam. Everything will be in the description that you need to see. And not my Steam, my Discord, and I will help you to the best of my abilities. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.